What's up, everyone? I am so hyped to get into these Nidoking buffs and changes in this hack. Nidoking is probably in my top 20 or even top 10 favorite Pokemon of all time. He's super, super sick, and I'm sure a lot of people can relate. You might be noticing I removed Sheer Force, and you might be like, why the hell? Why'd you do that? Nidoking's worse. That's like Nidoking's thing. Look, I understand your feelings, and I respect it. People also might look at the loss of mixed attacking Nidoking and be like, oh, what the hell? It's not even a mixed attacker anymore. It's so much worse. It's not because of these two incredible new abilities. Hustle being massively buffed in this hack, and Ruthless being a new ability that is incredible and works very well with Nidoking's move pool as well. And of course, he is much bulkier, faster, and significantly stronger. Sheer Force is kind of a boring ability to give the Pokemon in this hack in a lot of cases, especially when I want the Pokemon to have two offensive abilities, because Nidoqueen has two defensive, or at least like utility type abilities that make it bulkier. Nidoking, I wanted two boosting abilities. So Sheer Force plus Hustle, not the greatest combo, pretty mid actually, because of the way that the abilities interact. Like Hustle isn't objectively worse than Sheer Force because of all the Hustle buffs, which I'll get into, but it's still, that's not my favorite combo. All right, and also Ruthless is a lot cooler, so I'll get into both of these in a second. First, though, I do want to have a little disclaimer. If you are a new viewer here and you're just clicking on this video, first of all, hear me out, listen to the video. Number two, check out that Google Sheet in the description. You can look at all 600 plus move buffs and changes in this hack. There are so many of them. It's really important to understand how the Pokemon function now, so do give those a look. I organized them into great detail on the Google Sheet. There's also little ability guides, and of course all the new abilities will link to the ability guide on the Google Sheet as well, so you can check out what those do. I'll explain them in detail in this video, but just it's easier, in my opinion, to just look at the sheet, and you'll be able to get a feel for what all the moves do, and you'll be able to just look at the changes and understand without having to have me explain it in a lot of cases. But as for Nidoking, Ruthless, and Hustle, the pre-evolutions are also very good. Nidorinos have cool ass design in my opinion. These guys are semi-pseudo-legendaries, so one of the main reasons I made them not mixed attackers anymore, number one, there are other special Poison Ground Pokemon in this hack, like Gastrodon, one of the Gastrodon forms of Poison Ground. And number two, that's not the main reason. The main reason is because I wanted more bulk, because this is a giant-ass, like, Kaiju type Pokemon. He's actually not big at all, he's pretty small, but he's still hefty and bulky looking, hence why I kept his 90 base HP. I believe they had the same HP, right? Why am I thinking Nidoqueen had more? No, well, yeah, he did. This is +9, isn't it? Yeah. Okay, I'm just blind. So, I gave them both the same HP because they are similar sizes. However, Nidoqueen has 10 more defenses and Intimidate and Multi-Scale, while Nidoking has 10 less defenses, 10 more attack, 10 more speed, and 2 offensive abilities. Honestly, in Hardcore Nuzlocke, you can make an argument that Nidoqueen is better just because of the abilities and the bulk and stat distribution, because 141 with Ruthless and Hustle is overkill a lot of the time, but it's still really fucking fun and cool, and I love Nidoking, so who cares? Not to say that it's bad either. It still has good defensive traits. It can still use the buff Black Sludge with its newfound bulk. It doesn't have to hold Life Orb anymore with Sheer Force. It can actually use defensive items. It can use Choice Scarf for a lot of fights with Ruthless or Hustle. It has tons of moves that will always crit. So yeah, I'm gonna get into the abilities because I'm sure a lot of people who are new here are like still wondering why it doesn't have Sheer Force. So Ruthless is Sniper, okay? Ruthless will boost crits by 50%. However, the buff here is that tons of new moves always crit in this hack. So you have 50% crit rate moves, which aren't that good on Nidoking because you are not that quick, especially without having max speed. These are plus speed nature. 91 base is solid, and it's good, especially with Choice Scarf and stuff, but you're mainly going to be using like priority attacks and stuff on Nidoking, or just like bulkier attacking sets or Choice Scarf for certain fights. Or using it even in a defensive way because of its good bulk and the buffs Black Sludge and whatnot. But yeah, with 50% crit moves, you have Drill Run and Cross Poison, which become 158 base power, and then you have Jagged Edge, X Scissor, Laceration, Night Slash, Cross Chop, all types of crazy moves that will crit 100% of the time when you hold a Sculpt Lens on your Nidoking. So those are good, don't get it twisted, they're still really strong, but the best things with Ruthless on Nidoking alongside those moves, which again are good and they're definitely worth keeping, especially because Drill Run is reteachable via Tutor move. That is pretty cool, so you can actually tack on Drill Run whenever you need that ground type Ruthless boosted move. Without a Sculpt Lens, they're very inconsistent, and I wouldn't recommend it unless you needed a certain item and you just wanted to bank on that 50% crit. But in a Hardcore Nuzlocke, that's really risky. I wouldn't do it because that 70 base power versus 158 is like a huge difference. But the main cool things with Ruthless are First Impression, which is insanely strong, coming off 141 base attack, boosted to 135 base power. Via TM, you could just teach that whenever you need to. You also have buffed Skull Bash, which is really strong on Hustle and Ruthless sets. Keep in mind, the buff to Hustle is that tons of new moves will not miss with Hustle. So not only can you use buffed Wide Lens with Hustle, which is a 50% accuracy boost, and just click regular attacking moves and absolutely demolish things in front of you, you can also use 100% accurate or rather moves that will bypass the accuracy check with Hustle. So in that case, all of these moves for the most part, or all these moves on the top, like First Impression, Finishing Blow, Icebreaker, all those moves won't miss, Skull Bash, etc. The lower ones will be able to miss, of course, but the main allure, I'll get to those Hustle moves in a second, but Ruthless, First Impression, Finishing Blow, Skull Bash, which gives you attack, accuracy, and defense. Solar Blade is pretty cool with Power Herb for certain boss fights, very, very strong. And then you have Wicked Blow and Storm Throw and Stone Edge, all of which are 180 base power, recovers moves with Ruthless that are only... The only downside is that they're 90% accurate, which is not terrible considering that you're a bulky Pokemon. So yeah, Ruthless Nidoking, very, very cool, very, very strong, very, very fun, and a lot more balanced alongside Hustle because I wanted Hustle because I love Hustle. So it makes for a much better combination, a much more like complementary ability rather than just having one that's like better in like 80% of the cases. I don't know. Sheer Force is cool and all, but this is a lot cooler in my opinion. Let me also fix this. So yeah, Hustle, as you can see here on screen, is also buffed. All priority moves will not miss. So Nidoking has priority, 45 base power, physical, Poison Dart, which is great, and then you of course have First Impression and Sucker Punch via TM, both of which are also very, very, very strong on Hustle Nidoking. And then you also have U-Turn, Stab, Stomping Tantrum, which is beautiful on Hustle Nidoking and also Nidorino. Stomping Tantrum is a grab type move, so that's Stab, very, very strong, very, very good with Stomping Tantrum. I'm getting kind of circling around my words a lot, but hopefully you get what I'm trying to get at here. Raging Fury, very, very cool, 100 base power if you move last, otherwise it's 50 base power, and that it gives you +1 attack, so that's really strong. Dragon Tail and then Circle Throw later on in time for Nanu was very good. Circle Throw and Dragon Tail are both 90 base power and will never miss with Hustle, so those are really good. Skull Bash, like I said, gives you attack and accuracy, so you can use Power of Skull Bash and you can use regular attacks after the fact. That's better on faster Hustle Pokemon, but it's still good on Nidoking and Nidorino, who gets it at level 35, and it's Stab on Nidorino. Nidorino's base attack is already out like sky high with 98 base attack and Hustle. He also has a really cool ability in Merciless, which I think is really cool, turning into Ruthless because of like just the logic of it. Like Merciless is a crit related ability, and Merciless is great because Toxic Spikes is now a TM, so you already have Bar Barrage, which will always poison and will be overall 90 base power with that crit, and then you have stuff like Baneful Bunker and Toxic via level up, which work really well with Merciless, but as well as Buff Black Sludge, like Buff Black Sludge plus Baneful Bunker plus poison moves, or any move that will always crit with Merciless when they're poisoned is really fun, especially for totems to bypass the defensive boost. But T-Spikes is the main best use of Merciless on Nidorino because the AI will not have hazard removal because hazards are pretty, like that's just a very niche thing to give the AI. Maybe Rapid Spin for some fights because it's actually a good move now, but otherwise no hazard removal, so those are up. So T-Spikes are probably the best hazard in game, even better than Webs, because T-Spikes are a widely distributed TM and are reteachable, while Webs are not reteachable and only some Pokemon get it. T-Spikes poisons literally anything that's not poison or immune to poison, or like flying in the air that isn't hit by that. So that means if you use Merciless for certain boss fights, you can literally poison their entire team and crit their whole team and just go crazy. It's really fun and really strong. And you do have Slack Off for level recovery, which is pretty decent because Nidorino is actually pretty bulky on the physical side, especially. Hustle with Stab, Quick Attack, and Poison Dart early game is beautiful. Nidorino and Nidoran Male are incredibly powerful for early game because of that. They also have good coverage early game, like Pursuit, Double Kick, Dig for Melee Island. And then you have other really good stuff like Spiky Shield on Evolution, and all these other really fun utility moves like Parting Shot and T-Spikes, like I said. And they've got so many cool tools. I really like Nidorino, if you can't tell, and Nidoking. His art is awesome. 90, 118, 80 bulk. The Pokedex does say that he has like, he's just really fucking strong, and he uses Rock Hard Hide and Extended Horn, and Tail packs him enormously destructive power, and topples a Metal Transmission Tower. By the way, if I had kept Sheer Force on Nidoking, I would have just had Nidoking and Nidoqueen both have Intimidate, but that feels super fucking lame. Like, I like them both having 2 defensive and 2 offensive abilities, you know? It feels a lot more soulful that way, I guess. It just makes them more unique from one another, because I always hated how similar they were. Yeah, so many really powerful coverage moves as well, like that aren't Hustle moves or Ruthless moves, like all types of them. Because keep in mind, you don't need your ability to be activated for Nidoking to be a good Pokemon for a lot of boss fights. You already have very good stats naturally. I didn't cover this yet in this video, but these are semi-pseudo legendaries. You can watch the Nidoqueen video or any other video featuring a semi-pseudo legendary to understand what that is, but I think it's relatively self-explanatory, honestly. Using Nidorino until level 40 will be totally easy. In fact, you can make an argument that Nidorino is better for Totem Mimikyu because of that ghost immunity, so that's pretty cool. The dual typing fits pretty well in my opinion. They are these weird little like rodent-esque Pokemon. Speaking of, Nidorino does get, as a meme, I gave it Hustle Hyperfang. Hyperfang is as you already watched Eradicate videos and other Hyperfang mons, It's an 80 base power move that always crits and never misses. So that was made to never miss just for Eradicate because it gets Hustle. But for Nidorino, he also has Hustle and it's Stab on him. So I gave it because he is vaguely rodent-like. It's a little bit of a reach, but I think it's cool enough. And it's really worth using a Violate Nidorino, or even not even a Violate. You could just use like Scarf Nidorino or, you know, any other item with Nidorino. Because Merciless is also a good ability. So, you know, for certain fights, if you want that normal typing, you want that Stab Hyper Fang or Skull Bash, you can keep Nidorino for a little bit after, maybe until like 42 or something, or 44 or whatever it is after Mimikyu. Then you could probably evolve it into Nidoking for Plumeria because it has that ground stab for her and the resistance to poison, the 4 times resistance to poison. So yeah, that's the secret little tech to not evolve for Mimikyu. Honestly, you still might want to, but the Ghost Immunity is nice. So yeah. Thank you so much for listening. I'll be back for more buffs and changes coming up. There's a few other things I could talk about. It has wickedly powerful moves, like I said, Wicked Blow and Storm Throw and Stone Edge are Ruthless boosted, 180 base power, and you also just have stuff like Headlong Rush, which is just an absolute nuke with Hustle and Wide Lens. You can also use Z moves really, really well on Hustle Pokemon. Z moves will never miss, so Hustle plus Z move equals death, like you're killing anything in front of you, really. You also get Dragon Dance, which is incredibly powerful. However, that is the last TM you get access to. Nidoking does resist first impression, though, so it is a pretty solid sweeper for certain boss fights. There are other anti-setup measures that would be put in place, but like Ruthless Nidoking with DD, it could be pretty fun with like Scope Lens, and then you just go to town with your 50% crit moves, or you can just use any move, and you could just use Ruthless and like not use crit moves, you know, like it doesn't have to have its ability activated for it to be strong. So because 141 base attack is really strong. Yeah, it's actually not even the strongest Hustle Pokemon. There are 2 Mons that are stronger. Rampardos and Darmanitan have 145 base attack with Hustle, so they are even stronger, and they also get priority moves. And then technically Mega Heracross also, but they can't hold an item, so it's not really as fair of a comparison. Mega Mawile as well, which also can't hold an item. But yeah, that's about it. A bunch of other cool little covers moves you can check out what all these do in the description down below. I don't have time to get into every single one. I'm probably already dragging this on too long. So yeah, lastly, I will say Hustle Flail with Stab plus Reversal is really good, especially for Olivia, because of how fast and strong Nidorino is, and it gets Stab. And Hustle means that those moves won't miss. Again, you can check out a full list of those moves on the Google Sheet on the Hustle section of the ability guide to see all the moves that don't miss. There's a couple more I didn't cover probably. So yeah, peace. Oh, last thing, Rock Polish, awesome for Hustle Nidoking. Better than Dragon Dance in my opinion, because number 1, Rock Polish is way earlier. Number 2, you get it in 1 turn and you're much faster. So Hustle, Rock Polish means that you get +1 accuracy and +2 speed, so you can outspeed pretty much everything. You can run max HP and still outspeed everything, and you're very bulky and you're very strong, and you can use inaccurate moves as well with Ruthless if you wanted to, but I would just run Hustle moves with Rock Polish and you won't miss anymore. So that's really fun, really strong, good coverage moves. It's just the GOAT, really fun Pokemon. Yeah, Rock Polish is big, forgot to mention that. Alright, I'll be back for more coming up. Peace, y'all. Let me know in the comment section down below what you think. Hopefully you enjoyed it. For Sheer Force lovers, yeah, I'm sorry, I don't know what to tell you. I think this is way cooler. I like Nidoking, so it's not like I'm hating and just changing it for no reason. I just think it's way cooler. So, yeah. Bye.